Welcome to the 16th International Symposium on Integral Car Safety Systems here in Mannheim, Germany. It's a unique event with a long tradition starting in 1992. The short name is Airbag Symposium, but it's about much more than just airbag innovations. Of course, they are a part of this event, and we'll see some examples later. But this symposium covers a wide range of topics in the area of car safety. For example, field and accident studies, sensor systems and adaptive restraint systems, but also tools and methods for further developments, and safety technologies for the vehicles of the future. I'm in the exhibition area, and I invite you to join me to visit some of the booths of OEMs, Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers, as well as research institutions. Let's take a look at their latest advancements. I'm here at the booth of Audi with Stefan Lieppold, Senior Expert Restraint Systems. We are really happy to have Audi here at the Airbag Symposium, first time with a vehicle. Can you tell us something about the vehicle you brought with you?
Yeah, this is a new Audi Q6. It's based on the PPE platform, which is a platform which built together with Porsche and is completely made for electric vehicles. So we have no combustion engines designed for it. It's just the electrical one. And so for this reason we designed the structure according to this load cases.
And what does that mean for safety?
Yeah, we have different. Normally we have a big engine at the front, which is missing here. We have some more space, so the introduction is more softer, and we have to adjust the restraint system for this softer stuff. We have different sensors used for it to have the real information for the
impact of the accident, you mean?
Exactly. And we also have difference in the side beam because the battery is really huge. We have 100 kilowatt battery, and we had to protect the battery because if the battery is damaged, we can cause some problems in thermal runaways. So most important is there's no introduction to battery.
So what is special about the airbags you have used here at the Q6 e-tron?
We have airbags which are worldwide the same ones. So as you know, we have different regulations in Europe, in China and in US market. Because different dummies, different load cases, because they have different accident results. So, but here we have decided to bring the best for every customer. So we have curtain airbags, for example, which fulfill the 226 requirement in US, even it's not required in Germany, just to protect every passenger in the best way.
What about sustainability in the new car?
From beginning on, so the plant was built CO2 neutral, and we also produce the engines in Hungary, bringing them to Ingolstadt with a train. We mount the battery in Ingolstadt, so everything is short ways to reduce it. And also in the airbag. So for example, we have airbag, the cushion is from PET, the material, instead of normally we use PA, has much lower carbonate footprint. So even in the small pieces, we try to reduce our footprint.
Yeah, so in various areas you cover this topic.
Sure.
You cover sustainability, circularity, you have that
possible.
in mind. What is special about the airbags in the Q6 e-tron?
We at Audi always try to bring, as I explained, the best performance to the customer. So for this reason, we usually have now adaptive dual stage airbags. This means we have, depending on the occupant, if it's a small or big person, which is measured by the seat sensor, we find out which person it is, and then we adjust our airbag. So if you are smaller, you don't get the full power. If you're taller and more heavier, you get the full power of the airbag.
Yeah, so it's a really adaptive restraint system you have created here with the airbags.
Yeah, we do it as a passenger airbag and the driver airbag as well. And even in the belts, we have, for example, belts with a pre-tensioner in front and the rear, and also load limiters to reduce the power, give it all the best. I'm really proud about the results in the Euro NCAP one. We have in all 4 disciplines great results. occupant protection was good, nearly perfect, but also we are really proud that we are best in class for child restraint system.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, for example, we heard yesterday in the meetings that a lot of child restraint systems are not adjusted perfectly, and so if something happens with the child, mostly it's because the seat is not proper installed. For this reason, we have on front and on both rear seats Isofix, iSize and top tether. Make it much more easily to bring the child restraint in the right position. And in addition, we have, first time for Audi, an automatic deploying of the airbag. So if you have a rear-facing child restraint on the passenger seat, the car recognizes it and turns off the airbag.
Is there something special to the crash tests at Audi?
First of all, I'm really proud that Audi has a new safety center built up 1 year ago, and this car was one of the first we did test in this new center. And especially for the electric cars, we have different additional load cases we do in crash tests and also simulation. As I mentioned before, it will take the battery and not in the standard load case. In even every load case which is possible, we do simulation or crash test.
An integral car safety system, as we just saw at Audi in the Q6 e-tron, is made up of several parts that have to be combined. At the next booth, we'll take a closer look at these parts. I am here at the booth of ZF Lifetech and I'm talking to Dirk Schulz.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. 2 years ago you were here as ZF Friedrichshafen AG, but now you're at ZF Lifetech. What has changed since then?
Yes, we are very excited that the operational carve-out of ZF Lifetech is meanwhile closed and we are operating our business as an independent part of the ZF Group. What does this mean for safety community? Well, we are a company that is 100% focused on road safety and occupant protection. And we have ambitious goals to continue our success story with our innovative and robust products for the future.
And you've brought very impressive demonstrators with you. What is one of these demonstrators here, the seat you have?
Yes, this one is about pre-crash safety. Well, this is for lateral impact protection. For side impacts, we are facing special challenges because of the intrusion of the vehicle. Means if we would be able to fire the airbag before the crash happens, means pre-crash, we can improve safety significantly. And this is a dual stage side airbag, means the first stage is already ignited before the unavoidable crash happens, and then we are pushing the occupant gently out of the dangerous zone, and the second stage is ignited post-crash in order to protect the abdomen. With that, we can reduce loads to the occupant a lot.
And that's an irreversible restraint system, right?
Correct.
And you also brought a reversible restraint system with you.
Correct, and this is in the seatbelt arena. So in the seatbelt arena, our modern seatbelt systems are already starting to work before the crash happens. They are connected to the CAN bus and they are using the signals, for example, from the ESP system. And before the crash happens, they already pull out the so-called belt slack and they can even reposition the occupants. Very important in case of pre-braking, where typically the occupant is accelerated forward. We reposition the occupant so that the restraint system is working perfectly.
And you also brought various airbags with you. But what are the kinds of airbag systems you brought to the symposium?
Yeah, we have various new airbag concepts, for example, for the interior of the future. One very important part are new cockpit concepts and new steering wheel concepts. So when you are using the center of the steering wheel, where today the driver airbag is located, you ask yourself, where can I now position my driver airbag? So we developed the so-called top deploying driver airbag module. What deploys from the top of the steering wheel through the rim, and with that we can use the steering wheel as a carrier for example, displays, right? Or on the passenger airbag, you can see our bag and roof technology. This helps us to free up on the passenger side the instrument panel for infotainment or maybe for storage place. And this one could be used on the driver's side too, by the way.
And with the roof airbag, you're also thinking of autonomous driving, I guess.
Yes, of course. You can use this airbag in order to design completely new instrument panel concepts, and you can also use this for autonomous driving vehicles as well as for conventional driving vehicles. On the passenger side, it's not so important if the car is driving autonomous or as a conventional car.
But of course the seating position plays a role.
Yes, the seating position in general plays a role along with these new interiors of the future, and we will learn more about this during our session block number 4 tomorrow, where we will have a deep dive into reclined seating, what is part of the interior of the future. Means when the occupant is in a so-called relaxed or comfort position, the occupant kinematics in case of crash are significantly different than today, and we need special technologies for this in order to protect lower legs, for example, in order to protect the chest and the head. Completely different airbag systems for the vehicle of tomorrow.
And when we think of adaptive restraint systems, what do you provide in that area?
Well, we are working on adaptive airbag systems that are using the signals that detect the position of the occupant, the weight of the occupant, in order to tailor the restraint performance in a way that we can provide maximized protection. So we can, for example, within one airbag module, we can realize to deploy the airbag module either large or small. We can, depending on sensor input, decide if we want to have a higher internal back pressure or a lower internal back pressure. And this helps us to tailor the restraint performance to the different occupant types, sizes, and so on.
So it's really adapting to the passenger's needs for safety.
Correct. The future airbag will become smart based on our sensors, based on the detection of the crash severity and the occupant, and then we can really provide maximum occupant protection.
You also have an airbag configurator with you.
Correct.
Can you say a few words on that?
Yes, you can see this there on the screen. This we are calling the Safety Explorer. Is something what is demonstrating the different airbag functions within a vehicle. You can, for example, select what should I activate as an active safety device in case of a reclined seating, in case of a standard seating, what is important for the driver's side, what is important for the passenger side, how to provide maximum protection within lateral crashes. You can all experience this in a kind of virtual world of the Safety Explorer.
So CF LifeTech is not only active in the field of actuators, but also sensors.
Yeah, that's correct. As Rudolf highlighted during his keynote lecture, for the future we need Tier 0.5 in order to assist OEMs to develop the cars of the future. This includes also using of sensors and algorithm in order to facilitate adaptivity to further improve occupant safety. And we built up a demonstrator, what you can see here, and you can see that based on signals from our camera in this car, in combination with signals from the seat and a software that is based on artificial intelligence, we are able to predict what is the best possible safety for the occupant and tailor then the restraint system performance of our modules accordingly. And you can see how accurate already this software is detecting how the occupant is positioned. All these aspects we are taking into account.
To have the most safety as possible for the specific individual sitting inside the vehicle.
Correct. And we can consider, of course, is the occupant close to the airbag, is the occupant far away, what is the occupant a little bit larger or smaller, what is the weight of the occupant. All these factors in combination with crash severity will help us to find the best possible protection with our actuators.
Airbags are still a major part of the passive safety system. At the next booth, we'll take a closer look at airbag cover material and other technical parts relevant for the integral car safety systems. So hi.
So hello.
Nice to have you here. I'm here with Jan van Honk from Alt Technologies. Alt Technologies has been at the airbag a few times already. I mean, you're a company that's worldwide represented. Can you tell us a bit more about Alt Technologies?
Yeah, LT Technologies, we're a global converting company and we make labels and airbag covers for the airbag industry. We supply the airbag industry already for many years. We have facilities in the Netherlands, in Romania, in China and also in Mexico. So we support our customers worldwide.
And what are the products you've brought this time to the Airbag Symposium?
This time we brought, of course, airbag covers for every kind of airbag that you could think of. Frontal airbags, side airbags, curtain airbags. We also brought some new materials with us, some new traceability labels and some technologies for electric mobility, for example.
Great, we'll have a look at those. When you think of the future of airbag covers, you might think you're at the end of innovations, but what is the innovation potential of airbag covers?
Well, there is still potential for developing further materials, recyclable materials, but also more lightweight materials, special adhesives, for example. There will be all kinds of new airbag types which also require special covers. So there's always something to do for us.
How does Alt Technologies cover the topic of sustainability?
Well, we cover that, for example, by working as much as possible with clean energy. For example, the factory in the Netherlands is fully powered by wind power, and we're also working on having solar power for the factory in Romania, for example. And next to that, we do develop together with our customers materials that can be recycled. A lot of the waste out of our production is also recycled, for example. So that's our contribution to sustainability.
What about other products Alt Technologies supplies in the area of autonomous driving or when you think of electric vehicles?
Well, we're also working on very small labels that can function as a heating element, for example, heating cameras. As we used to do production of labels, there's also printing involved. We can, for example, print layers of silver ink and carbon ink, and then that can turn into a heating element, for example, for cameras, to prevent fogging of the camera, for example.
Can you tell us something about your RFID labels?
Yeah, the RFID labels, they are a possibility to replace ordinary traceability labels with barcodes. And the advantage of an RFID label is that you don't need to scan it in the way that you do with RFID labels, but for example, they can be scanned by an antenna. So there is the possibility to scan at once several products directly. Where with a barcode label you need to scan them product by product. So that gives some advantages.
It's much faster.
It's much faster, yes, indeed.
So is there another innovation you brought to your booth this time at the Airbag Symposium?
Yeah, we also brought with us the felt cover, which you can see over there. And the felt cover consists of a BICO content. That means there are two types of plastic materials inside of it. One will melt at a different temperature compared to the other one. And that makes it possible to, for example, heat up the material and then compress a complete airbag package. Or there's a possibility to do molding of that material and to give it a special 3D shape. That's one of the innovations we also brought with us.
Do you also have innovations for e-mobility?
Yes, we do. We're working on, for example, bus bars, which can be used in batteries of electric vehicles. And a bus bar is basically connecting all the pluses and the minuses of the several batteries which are in a battery pack. And we can do that because we can cut metal, but we can also laminate the insulation layers on top and on the bottom. And then you get a bus bar, which can be used in car batteries for e-mobility.
So what other products do you have displayed here?
Well, we have the die-cut wire harness, and it's meant to replace traditional cable harnesses. And that is, for example, a concept which is easier to assembly in the assembly process, for example in a battery, but also in a car, for example.
I saw you also have airbag inflator seals displayed here. Can you say a few words on that?
Yeah, we have inflator seals. We can make them out of copper, aluminium or stainless steel. and actually they're used in the inflators, and during the inflation they should actually, after the explosion caused by the inflator, the gases should go through the holes which are made into the inflator seals.
One aspect is the development and production of airbags and other safety devices. However, at the next booth, we'll take a look at what happens at the end of their life. I'm here with Todd Horman, Vice President of Product Destruction of SES. Hi Todd, nice to meet you.
Good morning, how are you today?
I'm fine.
And welcome to our booth here at the Airbag 2024 Symposium in Germany.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thanks for having us. So what does SES actually stand for, and what is the core of your business and especially of your division?
Yeah, SES stands for Superior Environmental Solutions. Our corporate office is in Cincinnati, Ohio, and our core business is industrial cleaning, industrial service type work. But we do have a division called Product Destruction, and that's the division that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
And that's where we do airbag destruction.
Okay, so you fit in here perfectly. We're looking at the end of life of
Correct.
airbags.
Yep.
So Todd, where does the work of SES start?
It starts at the disassembly of the modules, and then we disassemble the modules, take the inflator out of the modules, shred the inflator, but then we recycle all the material that comes from the modules. So we recycle the plastic, we recycle the nylon bag, we recycle all the metal that's a part of the module.
So who are your customers?
So our main customer is a safety device manufacturer. So we do a lot of work with safety device manufacturers around the world. But we also do automotive OEMs as well.
So you have the collection, you have the recall first, the collection, the disassembly,
Yep.
and then to recycling and shredding.
Yes, yeah. We do a lot of end-of-life vehicles as well. So they pull the inflators out of the vehicles before they shred them. So a lot of work is done with recalls, with end-of-life material, and with quality issues, if they have quality issues.
Yeah. So if you look into the future, where are you heading?
We would like to have more than one facility around the world. I mean, we're thinking about maybe Mexico, we're thinking about maybe Europe, but we definitely have a lot of capacity in our facility in Ohio as well. So we're hoping to get more inflators that we can take care of. So we can manage any of the inflators, side curtain airbags, seats, anything that has an inflator in it.
Let's go back to another OEM and their ideas on integral car safety systems. Let's take a look at Volkswagen and the ID.7. I'm here at the booth of Volkswagen talking to Dr. Jan Efforts, Global Head of Development Vehicle Safety. So we're really happy to have you here with a vehicle this year at the Airbag Symposium.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, welcome. You have the slogan "Safety for All."
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
Yeah, safety for all is our vision. So our vision is that nobody shall be avoidably harmed in an accident with the Volkswagen vehicle participants. So that is a very high bar, very challenging vision. We know that, but we think as a volume manufacturer, it's our obligation to society to have a real life impact, to bring down, of course, accidents, mitigate the crash severity, and of course avoid all losses of life as where it is possible. And so this is envisioned by Safety for All. And in total, Safety for All means for us that in all vehicle segments, in all relevant accident scenarios, and for all participants of the accident, which means the occupants as well as pedestrians and bicyclists, we try to have the best possible level of protection wherever this is technically possible. And that is envisioned by Safety for All for us.
That's a great but really good ambition.
Yeah, and to do that, we are carrying out for the relevance and own accident research, which is consistently surveilling the field, giving us insight about what is happening in the real world. And these inputs from the real world accidents are forwarded in our development pipeline, make our requirements and define our innovations in vehicle safety.
You brought an ID.7 with you. Can
Yes.
you say something
Yes.
about the specific safety system here in the ID.7?
Happily, I show you around the safety systems of the new ID.7. So we have, of course, the full package of restraint systems in here, which means we have up to 7 airbags. So that means the driver and the co-driver airbag, the side airbags in the seats, the curtain airbags in the first and second seat row, and additionally a center airbag which gives optimum protection for the occupants in a side crash to avoid occupant-to-occupant interaction. So that is the passive side. Of course, we have an intelligent belt system which can be triggered pre-crash, so it's a reversible belt system. This is incorporated into our proactive occupant protection system. So whenever the vehicle is sensing that the crash is about to occur, the belt is pre-tensioned, the windows are closed, hazard lights are switching on. So everything is done to bring the vehicle and the occupant in an optimal position in front of the crash. And that is part of this occupant protection system that we have. Furthermore, we have a bunch of innovations here of active safety. You can see here the emergency assist, which takes over control if the driver is not able to take control anymore. We have a door opening warner, for example, in here, which warns the driver and co-driver in front of approaching vehicles or bicycles from the rear. And we have something like a multi-collision brake, which brings the vehicle into a controlled stop after the first impact. And together with the passive and active safety systems we have here in the ID.7, we managed to get the Top Performer Award of Euro NCAP in 2023, so we're really proud that this is one of the safest electrical vehicles in the market at the moment.
You also said something about sensors already.
Yeah.
So what can we expect in the future concerning sensor systems?
Yeah. I personally think that the development of interior sensing systems, it's at the brink, it's just about to begin, and it's comparable to what happened in the driver assistance sensors in the outside. So we will see a lot of techniques entering the vehicle. We have the first already for driver monitoring. Starting this July 2024, we got legal requirements for driver monitoring towards attention and drowsiness. So this brought the first cameras into the vehicle, and from there it will go on. We have additional functions in our mind that can help making vehicles safer. So for example, adapt to the size and to the seating position of the occupant. Of course, detect living beings which have been left behind in the car, and adapt more to the seating of the passenger and warn him whenever there is a chance of an incorrect or possibly dangerous seatings. Some of these functions are already pointed out in the upcoming NCAP 2026 protocol, and from there on we will see a lot of these technologies being brought into the vehicle, merged together and possibly put out in a central sensor fusion for upcoming functions in the future. In total, of course, all this sensing of interior of the vehicle does not only help them to make the vehicle safer, it brings the possibility for extensive comfort functions as well, because we can have a new user interface concept if we know what the driver is doing and how he's interacting with the vehicle. And finally, if you want to go into automated driving, to make the transition between automatic and manual driving secure, you have to know about the occupant states of the driver state. And there the interior monitoring is the primary enabler to really have this safe transition between automated and manual driving.
Sensors are crucial for adaptive restraint systems. At the next booth, we'll take a closer look at very specific sensor solutions. I'm here with Jan-Martin Jupner from Sony Depth Sensing Solutions. Hi.
Hello, welcome to our booth.
Yeah,
Daniela.
thanks. So you're for the first time here at the Airbag Symposium. Where
Yes.
do you come from
Yes.
as Sony?
Yes, we are here for the first time. Thanks for being here. And originally we come from the comfort part, making entertainment features for the inside of the car with Sony Depth Sensing based on the Sony Depth sensor, the 3D iToF sensor. We developed the sensor and the software and are in serious production since 2015. Already in the automotive for the gesture control. But over the past years we see safety, occupant monitoring, in-cabin sensing is becoming a very interesting topic, and we see that this iToF sensor has so much potential to support these features that we for the last 4 to 5 years changed into this direction, developing software for in-cabin and occupant monitoring to support the OEM and the Tier 1s to make the in-cabin safer and also reduce injuries and severities.
I guess you're also thinking about the regulations that are coming with the Euro NCAP, for example.
Yes.
So can you say
Yes.
something about that?
Yes.
How your sensors meet the requirements?
Exactly. That's what we're working on, what we're focusing on, being also in close collaboration with Euro NCAP, with the regulatory bodies all over the world, like in the US and China, to understand what will be necessary to meet the future regulations. And here we now can present in our car software which meets the latest regulations, and especially when we focus on NCAP, we can detect seatbelt misuse cases, we can detect feet on dashboard, we can classify the occupants very accurate, we can detect the posture of the occupants, and this we can do due to our technology which is implemented here. We have two different options what we can offer to the customer. On one hand is the 2D sensor, it's an RGB-IR sensor combined with the Sony OMS software. But as well we have the 3D sensor, which we are coming from in the past, in combination with the 3D OMS software, so that the portfolio from the customer can be, or we can flexibly adapt to the portfolio of the customer.
And what is the advantage of 3D sensors in comparison to other sensor systems?
Yes, that's indeed a very good topic. We see the 3D sensor is really robust and reliable when it comes to detecting the whole body, the classification and the posture of the occupant. Reason is that the 3D sensor detects the whole in-cabin in a 3D format. So you can imagine the sensors in the mirror position or in the center display position scanning kind of the whole in-cabin like the LiDAR of the in-cabin. So we measure a depth to each point of the occupant, where is his head, where is his arm, where is his shoulder, but as well the seat and everything basically what's ongoing in the cabin, and can create a 3D image out of it. And this 3D image is then input for our software, and in this software we can measure or directly accurately detect, for example, the body size, distance from the head, from the body to the airbag, to the dashboard, and with this accurate measurement then give reliable and robust input to the airbag ECU for adapting these restraint systems with the seat belt, with the airbag and so on.
And you also address child safety, right?
Yes, exactly. So we can also detect children as part of the classification software what we have. We can detect child seats. Here especially the 20 NHTSA or from NHTSA required seats we have in our library to detect them, to detect the rotation of the seat, to really be sure we also give highest protection for children inside of the car.
What's so special about your software?
Yeah, so our software we developed to be independent from the sensor. So we call it sensor agnostic software approach. And the reason is we want to be flexible towards our customers. Some customers might use a 3D sensor, some might use a high resolution 2D sensor, some might use a low resolution 2D sensor, maybe RGB-IR, maybe IR only. And we want to be providing the software to the customer and enable him to choose the sensor of his choice, but have one software block. So we develop one software meeting all these requirements, having similar functions, but then depending on the sensor, having the different approaches depending on maybe on the region, on the area, wherever the car is used, which requirements and regulations are valid, then the OEM or the Tier 1 can choose which parts of the software he wants to take to meet the needs for the region or his specifications.
So you're ready and prepared for the requirements of the future?
Yes, we are ready. We want to support the OEM, we want to support all the Tier 1s and make the driving safer with our in-cabin and occupant monitoring solutions.
You also have a collaboration with Joyson. Can you say a few words on that?
Yes, we have the collaboration with Joyson Safety Systems for the last 3 years. We see Joyson as a really good company when it comes to safety systems with a long history and good understanding to provide safety systems for the whole market. And that's why we see it a good match with Sony Depth Sensing Solutions to collaborate, to enhance further the systems, to show it also to regulatory bodies, because we can choose the hardware from Joyson in combination then with the sensing part from Sony, and then have a good input for the actuators, would then provide the in-cabin safety from airbag to seatbelt with the input from our classification and occupant posture systems.
At the next booth, we'll take a look at a whole restraint system, and we might get an idea of what the interior of the future looks like. Yanfeng is here for the second time, so you were here in 2022 for the first time. What is new since then, and what is your approach to car safety systems?
Yes, we are the second time here. 2022 we have been really young, arriving in Europe. This was the third year. Now 2 years later, we have built up our production plant in Serbia, and we are truly in production with high volume components for airbags and steering wheels, and also our seatbelt product portfolio has evolved where we have business with European OEMs. Though that's a big difference, that we are now really established in Europe. Now we are entering the second phase where we want to evolve from a component supplier into a system supplier. And that's what we also want to show here. We have our components, the safety products, like the steering wheels and the airbags and the seat belts. But as well, you see a seat and you see a whole IP, which is developed, built and produced under the responsibility of Yanfeng. Now, when we look to this seat, in this year's conference, the zero gravity seat is playing a big role. We see that China, the legislation, the CRC, are the first where zero gravity seats are having a background, a legal background, a homologation background. And we want to become a system solution provider, which means we are coming from the component. We are also become responsible for the integration of safety into the vehicle environment. So in parentheses, we can think about our strategy to become a 0.5, tier 0.5.
So what's the innovation with this seat?
It's a little bit too early to say, but the innovation is that we want to embed the whole safety system into the seat. So it's a journey over years. It will not happen overnight. But it's a journey to integrate the whole safety functionality into the seat.
You brought quite a few steering wheels with you.
Yeah.
What's the innovation of these steering wheels and what's the difference of the various kinds?
In fact, we have different kinds of steering wheels. What we see is on one side the traditional technology, starting with die casting for the armature and then a PU foam and applying all the different materials to finalize the steering wheel. What is a new approach that we are looking for sustainable materials? We have a new version of steering wheel using a different foam system, which has very less weight and also less energy consumption during the production, which is for the sustainability footprint very important. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we are also working and developing on different methods to bring the leather or the surface materials on the steering wheel. And this is where we are commonizing Yanfeng technologies and apply them from covering technologies on a steering wheel, getting away from the pure handmade work, so that basically we can produce in future a steering wheel fully automated.
And you also brought an impressive cockpit with you.
Yes.
Can you say a few words on the cockpit?
Yeah, this also shows our approach to become a system solution provider, where we as Yanfeng, what you see here is Yanfeng content. We have the component, steering wheel and the drive airbag. All the passenger airbag is embedded into the instrument panel itself, but as well, when we think about for the future, that the OEMs, they are as well in a transition mode. In a transition mode that they have to serve much more platforms, much more technologies, so that we can transition into a tier 0.5, becoming a system solution provider, also reducing the development cycle and being responsible to supply a full system.
So what are the next steps for Yanfeng if you look into the future?
Yeah, when we look into the future, so the arrival phase and the pure development phase, that's behind us. So we have built up our organization, we have developed our business, we have our customers. Of course, we want to have a more diversification. Now we are entering in the 5th year, 5 customers out of Europe. And next year, in the 6th year, we have the customer number 6. So this shows that we want to diversify our customer portfolio, but as well, we want to diversify our product portfolio. Now we have a majority airbags and steering wheels in production in Europe. We are entering with seat belts for the near future, and as well we want to evolve, as mentioned before, from the component into the system. But we want to increase our scale of business in Europe and globally by the traditional products we have, and then evolving into the system solutions.
Yanfeng presented a holistic approach to passive safety systems. The next booth we will visit is of an OEM, a long-standing member of the Airbag Symposium, Mercedes. This year, they focus on the safety of electric vehicles, paying special attention to battery safety and battery protection. I'm here at the booth of Mercedes and I'm talking to Julia Hinners. Hi.
Hi.
So Mercedes is a long-standing member of the Airbag Symposium and you always brought cars with you. So
Yes.
this year you have the EQS.
Yes.
What's so special about it?
This is a very cool exhibit of the EQS. This is our EQS cutaway model. And so special about it is that we showcase with this exhibit the different materials that we have in the body in white and all the different sensors and systems that help with the integral safety of the vehicle. And the attention it gets shows that it's a really good example and a really great exhibit to show all the integral safety system and how all the technology that we discuss here works in the actual cars.
Yeah, perfect. And what is your focus today at this exhibition booth?
Our focus is electric vehicle safety. This exhibit shows also in great detail how the safety of our electric cars work and how battery safety works. But we also brought a different focus with us here on our slides or on our backdrops. We've brought the topic of the EV crash with us. So last year we did a very interesting crash test of 2 electric cars. The EQS SUV and the EQA, and we want to highlight with this crash test how safe our cars really are and how great the technology that we show here works in real life scenarios.
How do you ensure battery protection in this car?
We ensure battery protection with this deformation frame that we built around the battery. We have a really interesting structure here in this car, a really massive dorsal in like a honeycomb structure which is made out of extruded aluminium. And this builds a deformation zone around the battery to protect it in case of a side impact.
And here we see something about the high voltage safety system. So what are the components of this system?
We've built an 8-pillar high voltage concept to have a holistic approach also to battery safety. Of course, we often talk about the occupant safety and we see all the systems in here, but our high voltage concept contains many systems that also make the high voltage system and the battery safe in case of a crash. One thing that I always like to highlight is our protection zone concept. Together with the accident research, we developed a concept where we looked into real life accident data and where in real life accidents deformation happened on the car bodies. So we looked inside those data to see where protection zones are that will most likely not be deformed and pull all the critical high voltage components inside those zones.
Last year you performed a car-to-car crash with 2 fully electric vehicles.
Yes.
Can you say a few words on that?
Yes, this is a really great project that we're really proud of, and we also have a presentation in the program about this crash. We crashed our biggest electric vehicle, the EQS SUV, and an EQA, our smallest electric vehicle, and we crashed them with an overlap of 50% and 56 kilometers per hour each. And this test shows how well our safety system works in real life scenarios. So we chose this scenario to recreate like a scene of an accident in a rural road, like a real life accident scenario. And we want to show the world how safe our cars really are and how well these systems perform in real life scenarios.
What was special about the crash? Is there one thing you would like to highlight?
It's a very special crash because it's a very high accident severity. So those are very heavy vehicles. We have a difference of weight of 800 kilograms in those vehicles, and we also want to highlight gender safety with this crash test. So we included female dummies into the crash test to also show that all occupants of all genders and sizes are safe inside our cars.
At the booth of Mercedes, the focus was on electric vehicles and battery protection. At the next booth, the focus will be on the research part, on battery and material development. I'm here at the booth of Fraunhofer ICT, that's the Institute for Chemical Technology, and I'm talking to Veronika Kuchenreuter-Hummel. Veronica, Fraunhofer is a research institution focusing on applied research. What is your part in integral car safety systems?
Yes, we have profound knowledge and know-how in integral car safety system. In our 4 areas of expertise, we provide our customers a wide range of R&D solutions. So from the energetic materials for propellants and gas generator systems to the characterization, to the material and process development.
Can you tell me a bit more about the energetic materials to develop?
We are developing energetic materials for the gas generator systems, and we are simulating the combustion and gas release of the propellants. At the moment we are simulating the mono and multi-material combustion depending on chemical composition and geometry of the propellants.
So you're looking at new geometries that could be possible in the future?
Yes. So sometimes only with one material and sometimes with 2 or 3 materials in combination.
And on the material development side, what is your highlight you brought to the symposium?
We have 2 examples for material development here. One is for the recycling and circular economics topic. The other is more the sustainable materials we are using for interior for the future. One example is the helmet.
What is so special about the helmet you have here?
It's a bio-based material out of polylactide, so it's highly recyclable in the end. So all components are of one material.
You also brought a seat here to the exhibition. What is special about the seat?
It's a seat back structure, also as a monomaterial, so all components are made of polyamide. So the foam structure in the middle and the matrix is made of some fibers for high melting and low melting fiber PL structures.
And what is the advantage of using monomaterial?
It's highly recyclable, so if you use it again, you can melt everything and then you can make the stripes again.
So when you look at sustainability, that's the way to go?
Yes, of course.
You have a battery module displayed here. What is the innovation in that one?
We are developing a module housing concept with a high safety because of an integrated venting system.
And what does the venting system prevent?
It's preventing that the gases that are there in the thermal runaway will be going out of the module faster than before.
So you're thinking at the case of an accident?
Yes. It's focusing on the advantage of using composite materials, and therefore we are doing also the safety tests for flaming and fire retardant. So we are showing here one sample for flaming test of the material we are using in the battery system, and it's very good for this application.
And you've brought another cell?
Yes.
What's that about?
It's a termite cell, so we are using it for an ignition cell for termite for thermal runaway. So it's used for initiate the first cell through an initiation termite reaction, and it's producing the same heat amount per time like a cell in a thermal runaway. And it's constructed like this that we can place it in an original cell placement.
So what is the advantage of using a thermite cell instead of a real battery cell?
It's not producing the toxic gases. So if you have a battery cell, you have the toxic gas going out during the reaction. The thermite cell has no toxic gases.
And is it also cheaper to produce?
Yes, I think you can renew it and use it several times, so in the end it's cheaper, yes. For safety reasons, in a case of thermal runaway, we are also able in the institute to make a mobile gas analysis, and the supervisor for this test is Mr. Abert.
So we just heard about the mobile gas analysis here at the Fraunhofer ICT booth. Can you tell me something about it?
Yes, of course. At Fraunhofer ICT, we started analysis of emission of lithium-ion battery gases 15 years ago. Hundreds of tests later, we have a deep insight in the gas emission, and we offer a lot of analytical techniques to our colleagues which develop new materials for the battery. And we also support the colleagues which test the safety battery testing. at Fraunhofer ICT.
So what do we see here?
Here we have a demonstrator for our mobile gas analysis equipment. We see some train with some alcohol inside the tank, and periodically we see the increase of the signal from our measuring system.
So what are your potential customers?
Yeah, we support customers like car manufacturers during crash test scenarios, and we measure the gas atmosphere inside the battery trunk after a crash test, for example, or for institutions who test batteries. And they have no analytical tools, so we offer our service and we came to their site and measure the gas atmosphere.
We've talked a lot about safety and crash tests, but what actually happens during a crash? I'm here at the Fraunhofer EMI, the Institute for High-Speed Dynamics, and I'm talking to Malte Kurfis.
Hello,
Hi.
Dila.
So you have an impressive demonstrator here. Can you tell me something about it?
This is a demonstrator of a crash test facility. In our labs we have a big crash test facility where we can accelerate masses like in real car crashes and also velocity like in real car crashes up to 80 kilometers per hour. But here we have only a smaller model because of practical purposes. But what we can show here is that we accelerate and we demonstrate that we are crashing, and even more. Our specialty is to look into the car, into the crash, the component or the assembly with X-rays. So we have high-speed X-ray technology, the X-ray car crash technology, to look what's happening inside. Because the relevant processes are happening inside and are often hidden from the view from the outside. We know all this high-speed video technology, which serves a very good purpose, but from the inside we only have no direct information. We have some sensors, and then if there's a deviation from the model, from what we are expecting, we couldn't be sure all the time whether these deviations are real or what the cause of this deviation. And there our X-ray technology comes into play.
You have some posters here at the back. Can you say something about what we can see here?
In the poster we are visualizing several use cases of our X-ray technology. For example, in the front side of the car there are the longitudinal beams. They're taking the load in a frontal car crash, but they are not visible, of course, from the outside. But with X-ray technology you can see how they are folding, how they are behaving. Other examples are, of course, the airbag. That's the reason why we are here. In the airbag we can start with the gas generators. How is the ignition happening inside? How are gases working inside? And then we have the deployment. The external structures are ripped open. The airbag fabric is coming into the open. How is this happening? And then, of course, for example, if there are multi-stage airbags, you can see inner airbags, outer airbags, and all this with X-ray technology. And nowadays, very prominent is the use of X-ray batteries, because batteries have to be protected inside the car. But if this doesn't work, how are batteries behaving? How is the thermal runaway within the battery working, and how to stop propagation to other battery cells?
Is it also possible to visualize the dummy inside of the car during an accident?
Yes, for sure. Not only the dummy airbag interaction, but the behavior of the whole dummy structure can be visualized in a car crash. We did this together with an industry partner and published this several months ago. And we shot a very nice X-ray video from above here, where you can see the dummy on the driver's seat while a side impact crash happens. And you can beautifully see how the dummy interacts, what kind of movement is inside the dummy, and this is valuable information for the safety engineers of our OEM partner in this testing.
So, thank you very much for the interview.
Yeah. And here your record-breaking crash can.
Thanks a lot.
See you.
See you. These were some of the exhibition highlights of the 16th Symposium on Integral Car Safety Systems here in Mannheim, Germany. We've seen an impressive lineup of innovations, from system solutions to cutting-edge technologies. And we took a glance at safety technologies for the vehicles of the future. I'm looking forward to the next symposium in December 2026. See you there.